All right, welcome back to SCP Authors Anomalous, a show where I have on SCP authors, and we read their works, and we talk about them. Today, I am joined by the two oldest men on the wiki, both approaching 80 years old, Dr. Gears and Dr. Clef.
Hello! He comes with heat.
How are you?
How are you doing? How you doing, whippersnapper?
Get off my lawn!
Oh, God.
Hey, how are you?
Very much expecting these voices to be maintained throughout the entirety of the podcast. I'll be very disappointed if they're not.
Oh, jeez, there goes my throat.
Okay, well, before we get started here, how about we get some introductions? Dr. Gears, if you would like to go first.
Hello, I'm Dr. Gears. I wrote a bunch of stuff. 682, 914, 106 being some of the big face cards. I was on a different podcast of Shaun's and enjoyed it. Now I'm here with Clef. Hi.
Indeed. Go watch episode 15 of the Create Stuff podcast where I interviewed Dr. Gears. That was a really fun episode. And Dr. Clef.
Hi. I go by Dr. Clef. I've written a few things for the wiki, including a fiery angel, a knife that lets you stab people, and a ball of green goo that people will not stop asking me about. Hello.
So what does the ball of green goo actually do when it hits dead bodies?
Oh, God damn it.
Let me, I can give an answer to that. It actually does, okay, sorry about this. Oh, yeah. Weird.
Did you do that on purpose?
Yes, I did.
Oh my God. Okay. I was really about to be like, oh, your audio got a bit messed up.
No, that's the gag. That's the gag.
No, I did. I was just explaining everything. You know, if you didn't hear the fact that the ball of green goo is a this thing, then I guess I don't know. Maybe something's wrong with my setup. How very anomalous.
Something messed up. Who knows?
Oh my God. Really putting the anomalous in SCP Authors Anomalous. Wonderful.
No problem. Thank you for inviting me on, by the way. And
Of course. I just realized I don't have my pop filter on. 1 second.
Hey, no problem.
God damn it, not this shit again.
That's okay.
We're going to do this every time?
I have it in my hands. It's not going to take that long.
All right.
No
Last time you was
Just have to screw it to my
15
desk.
minutes finding that damn thing. It was terrible.
Best part of the podcast.
Side note.
Left it all in.
It does occur to me that this is the first time you and I have been on anything together, Gears.
I believe so. As far as like outside of what, like IRC chat or something? I think it's the only thing. You know, this is like the first like official voice at the very least. Definitely video,
and I think this is actually the first time that I've actually heard you speaking. Mostly because I didn't catch your appearance last time on this podcast or the other podcast. Yeah.
Well, I'll have to catch up on that, but nevertheless, it is an experience. It's interesting. You know, like I've heard people sometimes are like even seeing pictures of people, and it's kind of like lining up sort of the perception you build of people with, you know, kind of how they actually are. Like one of the first comments I saw in the chat on that other podcast was saying, I was expecting like an old English guy. I'm like, what?
I saw that too.
Troy Lament thought that I was a Brit for the longest time. Yeah.
That's weird. It's just weird.
Honestly, it's really weird to see an author avatar of someone and think of how you expect them to sound, and then it's just so completely different.
Yeah, it's just completely round the bend.
All right, well, how about we go ahead and get started with some readings here?
Okay.
We have lined up for us 4 articles. I'm not sure if we'll get through all of them. I think what I'm going to do is these are all on the shorter side of things, just due to the nature of Series 1 articles. But I'm going to say if we're 45 minutes in and we're still reading articles, we'll probably stop at the end of whatever one we're on.
Okay.
So the order I have them in is 001, 184, 445, and 835. Does that sound good?
Let's see. 001, 184, 445, 835. Got it.
Cool.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have those all pulled up?
Yes.
Wonderful.
And he's down.
Off of my
He's
desk.
down. He's down.
Oh
It's
God.
over.
Oh, my pop filter fell off.
That damn thing. I swear to God.
This is the source of all my problems. Hold
What
on.
are you-
Oh my god.
I'm starting to understand why you were so annoyed earlier, Gears.
This is what happens.
Leave me
The
alone.
man,
I'm a very professional
the man
man.
just loses control of his whole life, just in seconds. It's usually related to the pop filter.
I turn the microphone on and everything falls apart.
Here we go.
It's like the universe is just waiting for the most
Oh
inconvenient
God, no, not an anomalous pop filter. I don't want to have to write that shit.
Don't worry. Just put the idea up somewhere, and
Just put the
one of
idea up so someone will.
someone else will write it.
There we go.
Just by saying it here, you've already willed it into existence.
Just forced it into being.
Yeah, I'm gonna apologize to comments and criticism for getting like 15 anomalous pop filter articles coming into the green light
Apologizing in advance. Our bad.
forum in the
about
next
that.
couple of days.
Dr. Clef and Dr. Gears both said it was a good idea. I don't know why you're critiquing my ideas so
Fully
hard.
brought it up. Oh, it's a great idea.
Yeah, it kills you, and it needs 15 blind men to guard it.
Yeah, something
And-
like that.
Exactly. See, you don't even need to go through the ideas forum anymore. You already have 2 green lights from 2 of the biggest authors on the wiki.
God.
What more could you want?
Yeah, object
Oh,
class
God.
Apollyon.
Cannot be contained.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Just a giant.
Next 001 proposal.
yeah,
Oh
fucking-
God, I just remembered that this 001 proposal was written. I'll bring it up when we start the read.
It was indeed written. I have to agree with you there. But how about we go ahead and get into it? Oh my god, I did it again!
This man. I don't.
Okay, this setup.
So apparently, it's an anomalous pop filter that just causes random disassembly or something.
It's not a pop filter. It's a thing of evil.
It's a thing of evil.
Oh my god, this entire setup is a thing of evil, I swear. This podcast is.
It's getting there.
Oh,
Right.
wow. I am so sorry.
It's okay.
Man, remember when just organic SCPs were like, man, we can't be having too much of that shit. Now it's like, holy hell, there's so goddamn much of them.
Organic SCPs?
Like
Yeah, for a
living
while, it was-
creatures.
Living anything, because usually the thing was, if it was if it made too much sense, people were like, this is just an animal.
Hmm.
Like, why would we be containing this? Like, for a while, that was a thing. And then now it's just like, there's so freaking much of it. It's just weird to see.
I actually do want to talk more about how stuff like that has changed, because that's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
interesting. But let's actually get into it.
Yeah, may
My
as well
setup
actually
will
do
not
the
fall
thing,
apart again,
so.
I swear to God.
Okay.
Okay. I'll go ahead and start off, and I'll just popcorn off to somebody else after I'm done with the special containment procedures. All right. Item number, SCP-001. Object class, Euclid/Keter.
That's what I was going to bring up.
procedures.
We don't do those split classes anymore. Sorry, go on.
Okay, I do actually want to ask you about that at the end of this, because that confused me a lot. But
Yeah, no, that's not a thing anymore. Oh, God, that isn't a thing anymore, is it?
It's really not.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, I'll go back.
looking back on the old days, huh?
We got up to object class without interrupting. I think that was pretty good.
Sorry.
Okay, special containment procedures. Because of the nature of SCP-001, no containment procedures are necessary. 24/7 monitoring of SCP-001 is to take place from a safe, 10-kilometer plus distance from a predetermined location, Site 0. The location of Site 0 is known only to the current SCP administrator and a single overseer level agent of Abrahamic Faith, 0514, assigned to monitor SCP-001 from Site 0. Said agent is authorized to take any action necessary should 001 become active and is required to immediately alert the administrator and all other overseer level agents should 001 show any change in behavior, as this may constitute the beginning of a Patmos XK class end of the world scenario. Should SCP-001 become active in any way, personnel are required to immediately consult the Patmos series of emergency orders. Decoding algorithms for emergency order Patmos are to be maintained on-site at Site 0 in the possession of the designated observer and are to be transmitted to SCP Foundation offices only in the event of 001 becoming active. Foundation personnel with vital roles in one or more variants of Emergency Procedure Patmos are to be advised to take the following precautions. Maintain good relations with one or more organized Abrahamic faiths. Maintain on hand a supply of the following: holy water, a rosary, crucifix, cross, prayer rug, or other symbol blessed by an Abrahamic cleric of bishop or equivalent higher rank, a copy of Abrahamic scriptures such as the Torah, Bible, or Quran, and standard emergency supplies in mobile form, bug-out bag. In case of a premillennial rapture scenario, I know how it's pronounced. I'm just dumb. All vital personnel are to be all vital personnel are to designate a second operative of non-Abrahamic faith. Said secondary operative is to be informed of the location of the primary designate's copy of Emergency Procedure Patmos and Mimetic Kill Agent Inoculant, and is to be kept on ready status to take over the primary's duties as necessary. To maintain familiarity with all other SCPs involved in possible Patmos XK class end of the world scenarios. Honestly, it's surprising that it took me that long to mess up a word. Alright, which of you wants to take over?
It's your baby, Clevy.
Alright, fine.
Oh, yeah.
Description. SCP-001 is a humanoid entity approximately 700 cubits in height, located in an undisclosed location near the intersection of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. The following features are known about the entity. A number of luminous wing-like appendages emerging from the shoulders, back, temples, ankles, and wrists of the entity. Although an accurate count has never been established, most place the number of wings at anywhere from 2 through 108, with a mean number being 4. A weapon, possibly a sword or knife, SCP-001-2. The weapon appears to emit flames at a temperature rivaling that of the sun, based on spectrographic analysis, although there appear to be no destructive effects from the intense heat on the surrounding area. Any entity that approaches within 1 kilometer of SCP-001 is immediately struck by the weapon and obliterated from existence. Any and all hostile actions taken towards SCP-001 have resulted in the annihilation of the attacker regardless of range. See Incident Report regarding Indian Ocean Submarine Missile Experiment, December 26, 2004. I am cringing because of my edgy current events reference back then.
No.
That was not
cool
in the
at the time. It was cool.
It was cool at the time, but God, I'm an edgelord. Okay, let's continue. Pick up. SCP-001 appears to be standing with its head bowed in a gesture of supplication, with SCP-001-2 held in both hands point down in front of it. Since originally recorded by the founder, capital F, over years ago, SCP-001 has not deviated from this stance. Human beings exposed to SCP-001 report hearing a voice in their heads, giving them a directive which the subject reports cannot be disobeyed. The most common directive is "forget," which results in the subject walking away from SCP-001 with no memory of having encountered it. On rare occasions, however, other directives have been given. The most famous of these is the one given to the founder, "Prepare," which he has claimed formed the impetus for founding Data Redacted to catalog and contain any and all supernatural and or paranormal artifacts that represent a serious threat to the current existence of humanity. This is the organization now known as the SCP Foundation. Observers have reported that
information sounds a lot more like Muppets than I was expecting. It's fine. I'm sorry. It's fine. I'm just saying.
Okay, going on. Observers have reported that SCP-001 appears to be standing in front of a gate of immense proportions. Long-range photographs have occasionally detected what appears to be a pastoral grove within, containing numerous other entities of the same composition as SCP-001, as well as several fruit trees of unknown composition. Of particular note are 2 fruit trees of immense proportion near what appears to be the center of the grove. One, it is noted, appears to be an ordinary apple tree, although the other bears a fruit unknown on Earth described as data expunged. It is the avowed belief of the founder that the gate which SCP-001 guards may be the gate to expunged, based on correlations with ancient Babylonian texts and the Dead Sea Scrolls, in which case one can deduce that the entity, known as SCP-001 may be expunged.
Okay, and Gears, if you'd like to take over.
Okay. Addendum 001-A. Experimentation regards SCP-001-2's effective kill range. 1. Experiment A. 1 Class D personnel instructed to approach 001 as closely as possible on foot. Result. Upon making visual contact with 001, subject was ordered to leave. Subject immediately turns away from the entity and walks away. Despite repeated orders to continue the experiment, Class D personnel refuses to obey and is terminated. Upon termination of Class D personnel, all research staff involved are immediately obliterated by an unknown force, presumably SCP-001-2. 2. Experiment B. 1 remote-operated research robot guided to approach SCP-001 from the ground. Result. Upon approaching within 1 kilometer of SCP-001, research robot is obliterated, presumably by SCP-001-2. All further attempts at remote reconnaissance have the same result. 3. Experiment C. 100 pre-programmed research drones instructed to approach SCP-001 from multiple angles simultaneously. Result. Coordination is successful, and all 100 drones cross the 1 kilometer mark simultaneously. However, all 100 are simultaneously obliterated by SCP-001-2. Designated observer at Site 0 reports that SCP-001-2 appears to strike in all directions at once. I'm sorry, my wife just knocked on the door randomly. I'm sorry.
Are you needed?
No, I'm fine. I think it was actually my son, and he was goofing around. Sorry.
Okay. You're all good.
Hey. Say hi to Ms. Gears for me when you have a chance.
Absolutely. Designated observers at Site 0 reported that SCP-001-2 appeared to strike in all directions at once. SCP-001 did not deviate from its stance while this took place. Experiment D. Wire-guided missile fired from a distance of 3 kilometers. Result. SCP-001-2 obliterates weapon upon crossing the 1 kilometer mark, simultaneously obliterating the launch site and killing all personnel. Experiment E. Multiple warhead intercontinental ballistic missiles fired from SCP nuclear submarine Nautilus. Result. See Indian Ocean Submarine Missile Experiment, December 26, 2004. Experiment SCP-076, Task Force Omega-7, that's dated. Anyway, instructed to approach SCP-001 on foot. Result. SCP-076 refuses to carry out mission, despite not being informed of the mission's nature. Upon being asked why, SCP-076 replies no. Just no. Experiment G. SCP-073. Due to the results of Experiment F, SCP-073 was not informed of his destination until arriving at Site 0. Result. SCP-073 approached the site on foot. Upon seeing SCP-001, SCP-073 became distressed and asked to abort. SCP-073 was ordered to continue. At that point, the symbol on SCP-073's forehead became data expunged. Experiment was terminated due to data expunged. See Addendum 001-AA. Addendum 001-AA. By executive order of the Administrator, no further experiments are to be carried out SCP-001. No further SCPs are to be exposed to SCP-001. SCP-001 is not to be used to dispose of dangerous SCPs. Please see revised containment procedures for details. Then do I keep going, or?
I can take over.
That's a
We will cycle back around.
All
Real
right.
quickly, though, 76 and 73 are Cain and Abel, right?
correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, I thought so. Okay, addendum. On Date Black Boxed, the following errand transmission was received by Foundation personnel. Initiate emergency procedure Patmos Omega. Attention, all Foundation personnel. The following message was received at approximately Black Boxed this morning from Site 0. SCP-001 has left its location. The gate is open. They are riding forth. Oh god, it's so beautiful. And then we have
The Lord reigneth, the Lord has reigned, the Lord shall reign forever. The Lord reigneth, the Lord has reigned, the Lord shall reign forever. The Lord reigneth, the Lord has reigned, the Lord shall reign forever. And yes,
In that general
key
fashion.
smash. Yes.
And then at the end, Hero as Israel, the Lord, our God, the Lord the Lord is one. I almost said the Lord I Son. Okay, wonderful.
That's different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because of this event's confluence with the recent breach of SCP-995, the opening of SCP-616, and the activation of SCP-98, the Foundation is required to immediately begin preparations for an XK-class end-of-the-world scenario. SCP-76 and 73 are to be secured immediately. All personnel are to unlock and decode Emergency Order Patmos Omega and follow all orders within. Site-19 is to be secured and all non-essential SCPs and personnel terminated and such or destroyed. Repeat, because of this event's confluence with the recent breach of 995, the opening repeats. And then the Foundation is... Wait, does it repeat?
It kind of
Starts to like scramble.
Yeah.
And
Site-19 is to be secured and all non-essential SCPs and personnel terminated and such or destroyed. Repeat, because of this event's confluence with the recent containment breach of 995, the opening of 616, and the activation of 98, the Foundation is required to immediately begin preparations for an XK-class end-of-the-world scenario. 76 and 73 are to be secured immediately. Cain and Abel, my two sons, I am coming. All personnel are to unlock and decode. Behold, I stand at the gate and knock, and if any follow, and it is
and signal lost.
brilliant. Is there a sentence in that last bit of garbled text?
And I saw a new heaven and a new earth and the fruit of. It's a quote from Revelations.
I thought it seemed familiar.
Yeah.
Upon contacting Site 0, 0514 responded that no such message had been sent from his location and that 001 remained inert. The transmission was initially determined to be a hoax. However, close examination of the transmission reveals a timestamp dated data redacted years in the future. It is theorized that data expunged.
Mm-hmm.
And end of article.
I know you guys can't see me right now, but I am torn between cringing and nodding to myself because this article both holds up pretty well and is just really edgelordy.
Yeah, and that's the thing though, is back at the time, this wasn't edgy. This was it was edgy, but it wasn't in the ironic way that people think. This was cutting edge shit. This was actually, pretty on the far edge of stuff we'd done at the point. So you have to kind of look at it sort of in the time frame, I guess.
I guess.
That's what I tell myself.
Yeah, I actually don't recall, but I think that this might have been one of the first articles to be explicitly religious, as opposed to just
sort of implied
references.
Yeah, I
religious stuff.
This was one of this has to be one of the most overt, I think, by a long shot.
Yeah, for sure.
That I remember anyway.
Yeah, I mean, Cain and Abel existed, but I believe I think Crow wrote it, and they are not necessarily the two figures from Genesis. Even the name is spelled differently.
Yeah, they kind of there's some reference there, and there's some implications, but it's not directly stated by any means.
Yeah.
Right. So, real quick, can I ask you what the SCPs mentioned in that last addendum are?
Oh God. This is an artifact of the fact that when people don't like an article anymore and then they delete it, the number immediately gets opened up to be rewritten.
Oh gosh, have one of these been rewritten?
All of them, aside from I think 616, might still kind of be what it was, but I know 995 and 98 were rewritten. And that's actually become a running joke. Activation of SCP-98. I forget what that was. It was some kind of like gate to hell or something.
Yeah, it was something like it was some kind of passage thing. I remember. The amusing thing is, since things have been rewritten, it just makes it more interesting. It's kind of all those, what the hell?
It's like activation.
Yeah, why is Mr. Sillybug such an important part of this?
I don't know. And SCP-98. Yeah, the surgeon crabs are involved with the
what the hell?
The gate guardian.
It just makes it more interesting. It just makes it more interesting.
Yeah, apparently I had never had any idea Mr. Sillybug was a biblical reference.
I don't know either. But I think comparative eschatology had a really good gag on that, where they're like, somebody's like, I don't know what the hell they mean about the activation of the SCP-098, and then like the surgeon crabs immediately like grow wings or something, and they like start glowing, and then the guy's like, never mind, I think this counts.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Someone will clean up the lore with the tail. I don't doubt that for a second.
Yeah, absolutely.
Someone will write something and make it all make sense. There it is.
Yeah. I cannot wait to see that.
I'm going to make a small comment, by the way. I know that when I originally wrote this, I found some random picture on Google Images where somebody had taken a picture of their campfire, and the lens flare and stuff had created like the image of like a flaming figure. And I'd used that. Unfortunately, we couldn't keep that image because I can't find where I originally found it anymore, so I couldn't even get permission to use it if I could. And B, I know the wiki's been pushing to try and keep all of the images Creative Commons compliant, so
yeah.
They replaced it with a lovely little animated GIF that I've got to say, whoever made this, kudos to you. That looks really cool.
That's really cool. It's what I will admit, I haven't checked this article in a while. I popped that open. It's like, wait. Was that always a GIF? Hang on. No, I'm pretty sure that was a still image before. Hang on.
Yeah, no, they kudos to whoever made that one. Let me see if I can find them in the page history. Maybe they're in the. I'll look it up. But yeah, I mean,
very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, do you have anything else to say about 001 that perhaps you have not said before, or anything else you want to say about it in general, the writing and such?
Okay, first of all, it looks like the creator of the new image was a user called Steph Lynch, so kudos to you. Secondly, going back to the writing of this one, I think I've already been on the record in other places talking about how this whole thing was kind of born out of the fact that as a kid I grew up in a fairly conservative church, part of the evangelical movement. They were really big on the end times, and this is kind of my existential crisis over that, and that's what I'm going to say about it.
There you go.
The other thing I will say is that what was more memorable about this article for me was that it kicked off this argument over what SCP-001 should be. Which was like, people were like, this article is so good, it should be the SCP-001.
Oh God, I remember that. There were so many people going, this needs to be it. And people were like, no, that doesn't need to be that. And I'm like, okay. I remember that kind of going on. Oh my God.
I remember I came on the side of, no, I don't want this one to be the only SCP-001, because my thought was, I don't want this website's canon to be locked into my own existential eschatological religious issues. I want, like, atheists to be able to engage with SCP Foundation. I want, Buddhists, people who don't necessarily believe in any of the Abrahamic faiths at all, to engage with it without feeling like they're being left out. So I was like, if you insist on making this the one and only 001, I will delete it myself. And that was actually a thing.
Yeah, I remember that being like a big thing for a little while. We were like, this has to be it. And then we decide, and then I think it was mainly you saying, listen, I will take my fucking ball and go if you push on this. And I'm like, all right, fine. And then we kind of came to the current assembly where we have, this kind of nebulous, what is 001 thing, which I think has worked out better overall. But God,
I feel like it has.
That.
I feel like it has. I feel like if you look at the SCP-001 page, not the Gate Guardian, but the whole Berryman Langford, the whole list of 001s, I feel like we made the right choice, because it's let people take a look at the whole wiki, decide what they think is the overarching theme, and then present their own take on it.
Yeah, it kind of acts as like a capstone. You can kind of pick, which 001. It's like, okay, yeah, they're all, quote unquote canon. But in my, in my viewpoint, it's this one. It's this one or whatever.
Yeah. Or things like going between like the sheaf of papers, the legacy, anything having to do with like which one was that? When Day Breaks. That one was fantastic.
God. That was,
Locks.
There's loads of people that talk about it. It's always funny, like, seeing the stuff that comes up, and then whenever mine comes up, I'm just like, oh man, come on, dude.
I don't know. I really enjoyed yours because it was so low key.
It was, and my, especially at the time, like, mine was like just sort of taking the idea that 001 wasn't any special anything. It was just the first thing, and. Again, that was kind of new and interesting at the time. And now I kind of look back at it, it's like, man, that thing. I think of the 001s, it kind of on purpose, but is the least interesting. And I eat that. That's fine.
Well, here's the thing. I know we're supposed to be talking about the Gate Guardian, but I really like going into Gears' proposal, your proposal, just the fact that everything is so very slightly like 5 degrees off. Like,
that was kind of like that was sort of the idea, is that you have an organization that hasn't quite built the systems. So it's kind of like comparing documents from World War II, like at the beginning of World War II versus like the beginning of World War I versus the end of World War II, and kind of the huge shift that changed in structure and policy, and kind of it's recognizable, but it's like, this is rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then people come in and be like, wow, this is really rough. And I'm like, yeah, that's the point.
I mean, it's meant to be, we are a bunch of bumblefucks who don't know what we're doing and trying to figure it out, versus, I don't know, a lot of the other ones, which are like, here is the big grand story of everything, which I think is kind of where 001 is best, because it's kind of the way I like to think of it is, when you're writing a 001, this should be your thesis statement on what you feel the SCP Foundation is all about.
God, that's actually a really good way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess my thesis statement, coming back to the Gate Guardian, is that religion is scary and you can find horror in your Sunday school classes. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That actually makes me a little bit curious about your thoughts on, let me see if I can find it, Lily's proposal, The World's Gone Beautiful.
The World's Gone Beautiful. Let me, I don't recall that one. Let me bring that up and see.
It's a very short read.
Very short read. to be honorably
As we all-
discharged.
as we
Before all,
Violently
not the
surge.
cause of the apocalyptic scenario. Flowers are observed to bloom over 90% of the planet, become decreased violence. Will occur exactly 24 hours before the death of all life on the planet. Man, that's short, succinct, and that's a very different way of looking at the apocalypse than mine.
Yeah, it's like instead of it being the beginning, it's the end. I think that's what makes it so different from like most 001 proposals.
Mm-hmm. I feel like if I were to describe it, Lily's is okay. I'm gonna out myself as an utter weeb here, even though I'm pretty sure you guys have already figured that out. My 001 is Evangelion, like end of Evangelion.
I didn't want
whole-
to say anything.
The whole. No, I will fully admit it. It's the outright
It's
giant
done
ray.
well. It's fine.
everything.
It's just like
But Lily's is a Yokohama island shopping trip. It's a very soft apocalypse, and I find that beautiful somehow. It's like the
That's-
world is
awesome.
the world is coming to an end, but that doesn't mean we can't find a little bit of loveliness in it before we turn the lights out for good.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
A soft apocalypse. That's fine.
Yeah.
Like being hugged to death. There you go.
Is the difference between being shot to death in a piss-stained alley and going out quietly at home in your sleep.
Yeah, you're still dead either way. It's just how you get there.
Absolutely.
Very true. Interesting. Okay, I was just curious on your thoughts on that based off of what we've already said.
Mm-hmm.
Then okay, I know I said that once we're about 45 minutes in, I would say we should stop at the article we were on.
there?
We are now 40 minutes in, so we'll just do two more.
Fair enough.
Sure, that's fair.
Is there one of these three that you guys would specifically want to skip over the others?
I think we maybe not even reading all of 835 because that's a beast, but at least talking about it because that is kind of our joint, our child ultimately.
Okay, we could just read up to the addendum. It's a very small.
Yeah.
It's a pretty small amount.
But I would
Again, these articles are pretty small in general.
if I get to pick, God, I don't know which one I want.
I think we could just do all of them. Honestly, I don't think we could fit it in. They're pretty short.
All right.
We could. It's presuming we don't, get distracted again.
Yeah,
Which
I mean
is-
that's not really a concern. That's fine. We won't. No, it'll be.
Yeah, I think don't stop yourself from getting distracted by stuff like that though, because that's how the interesting conversations start.
That's
This isn't just a podcast about reading SCPs. It's about talking about them.
the talking,
Okay.
doing stuff.
Yeah. All right.
Quick question. 455's the cargo ship, right?
Correct.
Or-
That is correct.
I'd actually.
I pulled up 445.
Oh,
I may have said it wrong.
Oh.
455.
No.
is
No,
the
yeah,
cargo
that was
ship.
definitely my fault. Before this podcast started, I actually think I looked up 554. So I made this mistake 2 times already. I thought there was a picture.
The unfindable entry. There it is.
Okay.
No, we have one of those. Never mind.
If I can suggest a slightly different tack on 184 and 455, the thing that I'm noticing about both of these gears, aren't both of these stories about Zeta-9?
Okay, first, before you say anything, I didn't remember that until I like these. He was asking, it's like, what's some of the ones you want to read? It's like, I was kind of trying to pick ones that I like, but aren't necessarily as well known. And I was going down through. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. The mole rats are in each of this. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my little pet project.
Uh-huh. So these are linked.
I mean, through the fact that Zeta 9 goofs with each of them, but that was one of those things.
Okay, interesting. I'll have to ask you about that more in a second.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Shall we start with 184?
Yeah. May as well.
All right, wonderful. Would you like to start us off, Gears?
Sure. Item number SCP-184. Object class, Euclid. Special containment procedures. SCP-184 is not to be contained in any structure. SCP-184 is to be attached to a high-powered electromagnet at all times. Should the electromagnet fail, agents are to report to SCP-184's containment area and prevent access to all unauthorized personnel until the electromagnet is restored to power. The containment area for SCP-184 is currently configured to resemble a park, with SCP-184 and its containment magnet disguised as statuary. Any and all visitors are to be monitored. Any structures affected by SCP-184 are to be demolished after review by Dead Expunge. Final demolition approval or inclusion into SCP will also be determined by this body. No investigation is to be done into affected structures without approval and rescue team on standby.
Okay, I'll read the description. Description: SCP-184 is a small, smooth, metallic object, 10 centimeters tall and 10 centimeters wide, in the shape of a dodecahedron. Each face of the figure has a circular hole in the center, and a small sphere is attached to each vertex. 184 is made of an unknown but highly magnetic alloy about as hard as brass. When inside an enclosed structure, 184 expands the structure's inner dimensions without altering its outer dimensions. 184 will increase the inner dimensions of any enclosed structure by several hundred meters each day, beginning 1 hour after entry into the structure. Initially, 184 only extends the walls out, causing rooms to become much larger without adjusting the height of the room. This expansion continues until the original dimensions of the room have been tripled. At this point, 184 starts creating wholly new rooms. 184 is apparently able to copy items from inside the structure, creating furnished rooms consistent with the rest of the structure. After a period of time, however, the expansion process appears to break down. For example, items will be made from inappropriate materials, glass books, a wooden microwave. Rooms will be oddly shaped, doors will open into blank walls, and hallways will be tiny or twist back around in long mazes. The new inside structures continue to be more and more odd, while the outside remains unchanged. This behavior is most dramatically illustrated in homes. However, it has been observed in other instances, including a cardboard box. The changes do not go away with the removal of SCP-184, but no additional structures are created. Clef, if you would like to pick up there.
Addendum 184-1. Notes from Dr. Blank. I don't think I need to stress the fact that this thing can never be allowed into Site-19. We need to look into different containment at some point, but for the time being, we'll keep it in the open, immovable, and hidden. Addendum 184-2. Locations of interest. It is currently hypothesized that SCP-184, or an anomaly with a similar effect, may be responsible for the creations of locations of interest, such as Backdoor Soho and Chugoku Cellar. Investigation into SCP-184 as a potential origin for these spaces is ongoing. Addendum 184-38RB, Notes on Recovery. SCP-184 was recovered in the Kowloon walled city in June of blank. Reports of the city's bizarre and explosive growth attracted operatives who soon learned of SCP-184, held in the possession of data expunged. After several police crackdowns, Mobile Task Force Zeta-Niner was dispatched and recovered SCP-184 with minimal losses. The final effect of exposure to SCP-184 on both the city and inhabitants may never be fully understood due to the reckless actions of local law enforcement, which destroyed several affected sections of the city before operatives could take action to prevent it. Interviews with residents yielded minimal information, with a communal wall of silence being the major response. A few documents indicated that SCP-184 could be brought into a home and allowed to affect the dwelling for £50 sterling per half hour. These documents were unconfirmed by residents. And the last one is a link to the personal log of Gordon Richards, a member of Mobile Task Force Zeta-Niner, the Mole Rats.
Okay. Dr. Gears, what's going on here?
Okay, so, few things. First of all, anyone who brings up House of Leaves. I think House of Leaves came out before I wrote this, but I had not read it. And people who had, kind of weighed in, because when I found out what it was, I'm like, oh shit, I did I did the thing. They said it was different enough, so I said, okay, sure. This came because I find the idea of spaces that are bigger inside than outside very interesting. And the idea that, in the same way that, like, if you keep copying a handout or a picture or anything, it starts to decay. You start getting, copy errors and things happen. What happened if, that happened with reality? If this thing just kept copying and copying and copying and kind of started to fuck up like an old printer image. And
yeah,
I'm like, wow, that's really cool. And then I was trying to think of like something to do with it and stuff. I'm just like, I just need something innocuous, like something like that you could find in a junk drawer and never ever think about, like anything big. And I found they're called Roman dodecahedrons, and no one knows what the hell they're for or what they do. But apparently one of them does this. I'm like, all right, cool. And I grabbed it up and threw it on there and wrote it. And then there was a couple other things with this that are a little bit distinctive. This was like the first big log. The personal log of Gordon Richards was like the first big log that I did, like the first like tale that I had really done. At least I remember putting like the most work into, and like actually doing like research and trying to figure shit out. And it was actually very interesting. And it was also where I introduced the mole rats, the Zeta 9 heavy sort of, reinforced spacesuit exploration team that unfortunately had kind of become a joke because they tend to go into environments that are horrifically dangerous and get, messily killed. But I mean, you need someone to get chopped up by the baddies, so I guess they're it. So there was a few things going on with this, and what spawned it was the fact that the personal log of Gordon Richards is a guy's slow descent into madness. Just kind of going, progressively crazy with isolation and weirdness. And it's like this long period thing, and this is all summated in, one small paragraph in the main document. Like this guy's whole life going crazy and all this shit that happened is just, summed up. They recovered it, minimal losses. It's not even like mentioned. And I think it kind of helps show, some of the impersonality and the sort of monolithic nature of the Foundation ultimately, because to them it's like, oh, we lost a couple of people getting this big deal. It's not a big problem. But it was it was a lot of fun writing it. And then the discussion page. The 170-page discussion section. I don't know why that happened. It was, I think I like 184 the most because I had to think about it the most. Because I had people down in the discussion page every single day for weeks asking different questions and different ideas. And I was just down in the trenches with them, like trying to define stuff and go around with it, and it just went on, and it was like fun. It was weird because I was just glad people were engaging. But we were I remember just like every day there'd be more questions. It's like, all right.
What happens if you put it inside a pillowcase? Will you get like a pillowcase?
Like, what would it interpret?
Holy.
Would it do it to dust mites? What would it do with this? What does it do with this? And it's like, I just like, all right, what would it do? And so I think of everything that I wrote, I think I had to work the hardest and like the most mechanically well constructed was 184, just because I had people just straight up like Tolkien scholars just picking apart each little aspect, asking very, very detailed questions where it's like my initial response is, I don't know. And it's like, no, I gotta figure something out. And then I gotta figure something out, and I go through and talk about it. But it was fun. It was fun.
There's a lot of questions here.
Yeah,
most of the first ones were all from the same guy.
It's 170 pages, man. It's insane. But it was cool. It was cool going through it and doing all that. And then it's very interesting seeing what people have done with 184 and how it's kind of like the quote unquote secret 001, which was a very cool idea. But no, that was it was very much just me kind of throwing stuff together.
Personally, I always thought that one of the coolest / most charming little bits is its link to the Kulon walled city. And that line about how for $50 an half hour, somebody will take SCP-184 into your house and give you, like, I don't know, a new guest room.
Yeah, no, it's just like, you can just straight up, just like in some shack, it's like, we need an extra room. Get together $50, some Yakuza will come down, or some Triad guy, and we'll stand in a room with it for an hour and then leave. And it's like, oh, look, we got another room now. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm like,
that's a pretty worthy service, honestly.
And that's just life.
Honestly, I would have scraped together $50 for that, back when I was in college.
Oh hell yeah!
Same.
No, it's
I'd
like
love
if
to
we
have
can
that in my
we can just bump out these walls 10 feet without fucking with anything. I have $50. I was going to blow on bullshit anyway.
Yeah.
Here you are.
Exactly. Real quick question. Yeah. This might seem dumb, but I want to make sure.
Yeah.
When it increases the size of things, does it increase like the physical outside size of it, or just how the inside?
No, it's only the inside. It's again in the 170 pages of discussion. Generally, how it works is you're dealing with an enclosed space. So basically, the general idea is if you put it in a room and shut the door, it will expand that room. If you open the door and include more space, then it will include that space. However, the aspects are sometimes a little bit nebulous. And the thing to remember is first it expands. So it's just going to keep making the area bigger inside than outside, which can give you the weird feeling. It's like you kind of stand by the wall. It's like, wait, I should be like next door. What? And it's after it's reached a certain amount of size, then all of a sudden you start getting extra rooms, which will make a degree of sense, and then they get weird as time goes on. But it's specifically enclosed spaces.
I think the original picture of it made that a little more clear because it was one of these dodecahedrons on like a plinth out in the open, which was like supposed to indicate we got to keep this thing outdoors or it's going to like screw up any space.
Now it's a museum setting, but still.
Yeah. Gears, I don't know if you heard this take on it, but one of my favorite little takes that I heard about SCP-184 is it's got to be contained outdoors, right? The universe is expanding.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
cool actually.
That was the big gag. I remember that came up and I'm like, yes, that's so cool. And then one of it's a multi-part series. It's called The Truth, and it explores that exact concept. And it's actually really, really good. It's nuts and it's huge, but it's actually really, really cool. But no, I remember we live in an expanding universe and it's kept outside. Oh shit! That was
That's pretty cool. You didn't plan that or anything, did you?
No, I was kind of thinking about it at one point. It's like I kind of put it together. It's like, wait, this could be the. And I thought that was really really cool. And I'm like, kind of mysteriously talking, saying, "Oh, we live in an expanding universe," and like, "Oh shit, oh no, it's happening." And that was a lot of fun.
Super cool. Right, we should probably move on. We're almost an hour in.
Oh boy, yeah. Here we go.
Just on a quick side note, if you've ever had a chance to read up on what the Kulon walled city was, that is a story to have.
Dude, read that. If you ever have a chance, if you ever have an hour to kill that you're not doing anything with, look up the history of the Kulon walled city. That is the coolest thing. Like, it's horrible and it's insane, but that was the coolest thing.
Yeah.
I'll link something down below related to that. People to check out. But shall we move on to SCP-455?
Sure. I'm
absolutely
down for it.
Okay. I don't know if we don't have time to hit 8:35. Maybe I can come back on some other point and we can talk about it then. But yeah.
That'd be cool. I love that.
All right.
Okay.
How should we go?
I'll begin.
All right, go ahead.
Since I think we went through the full rotation last time.
Yeah.
Item number SCP-455. Object class Euclid. Special containment procedures. Object SCP-455 cannot be moved nor contained in any structure. Containment must be made on site. No exploration or testing is to be made on or in SCP-455. No personnel are to remain in close proximity for more than 5 minutes. All physical contact with 455 is forbidden. Any personnel breaking this order are to be quarantined. Any hallucinations experienced near 455 are to be recorded and logged. Any personnel experiencing hallucinations are to be transferred. Any personnel attempting to enter 455 are to be restrained by any means deemed necessary. Gears?
Description. SCP-455 is a large cargo ship currently run aground on the southern coast of Chile. Most of its structure is underwater and badly damaged, with rust coating 85 to 90% of all surfaces. Internal structures appear to be significantly larger than external dimensions. It is not flooded despite large holes visible on the outer hull. Internal structures appear to be random assemblies of rooms, hulls, and structures. Internal salvage teams report rooms made of human teeth, an engine with tendon strips for timing belts, a hull extending for 182.88 meters beyond where the outer hull should terminate, an open gym room with steel walls as pliant as taffy, and numerous audio and visual hallucinations. Team was lost after reporting entry to a central navigation. Research teams lost after reporting the investigation of screaming in the cargo section. Dr. Blank has suggested the use of robots to map the interior of SCP-455 after the failure of several manned exploration teams. And there's links to just that. Several failed explorations.
I need to just make a small point. First of all, I just love the fact that Dr. Blank's last name has like 13 letters in it.
Yeah, it's so long.
Something German or something. Like something with 5 syllables in it or something.
Maybe.
So you actually knew what the name was?
I think I was thinking of my wife's old dog when she was young, whose German name translated to something like Hunter Kaiferschek or something like that.
Oh my God.
So I just went with it.
See, I had assumed that they must have been Indian, like Dr. Chandrasekharam Pillai or something like that.
It very well may be. That's the thing. It very well may be. Just something, because usually it's like very short, and it's just I was feeling the piss that day. It's like I'm gonna make this last name just fucking a mile long for no reason.
If you really want to mess with people, you should have taken one of the black boxes and put an accent over it.
Oh God. Oh God!
I don't think we knew how to do that back then.
No, we could barely do that.
Can you still do that?
I don't know. I don't know
if that's possible.
We could barely pull off the censor bars at that point. We still thought that was kind of a cool gag at the time. That was cool. Learning fucking Unicode like it was some kind of secret code. That was fun.
Absolutely. Ooh, you can put links in. And you can
Oh my God! No, that was a thing. We can put links in the thing. My God.
Multiple pictures.
SCP-455, man. Again, I'm just killing the shit out of Zeta-9. And I was just thinking back, it's like, I kill Zeta-9 a lot. And I feel bad. Because, I want them... sort of in the process, I want them to be, very capable. And very often they are. It's just they run into shit that kills them. And it's a problem. But no, SCP-455, I just... it's a haunted house, man. It's scary. It's just scary. People are like, oh, it's alive. It's like, no, it's fucked up. You're dealing with something that's it's not directly inspired by Event Horizon, but in the same, what's the worst thing that could happen? Okay, let's do that plus maggots. And it's that's just what happens. That's kind of how it works. And so, again, SCP-455 is an older one, and one of the things with that is way, 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 way back at the start. When I first started doing this, I had this vague idea that all the items were sort of interrelated or connected in some way. and that a great deal of them were transported on this ship. And because of the radiation and effect of it, it had gone, crazy and evil and all this crap. And then after they were taken off, it remained as sort of this leftover effigy sort of thing. Which very quickly fell by the wayside, but it was like I had this vague idea. But no, I think of my stuff, I like 455 a lot, just because it's just straight up a haunted house. And one of the other things is back in the day when IRC role-playing was still a big deal. I'm sure it still is, but I ran campaigns on 455 a couple of times and proceeded to just drag these poor people through hell periodically. just through hell. And I would I would take stuff from that. It's like, oh wow, that was really cool. I'd kind of bring that over, to reference and other things, and it was a lot of fun. I really dug the hell out of it. I still do.
I remember that. I remember those.
Were you on one of those? I can't remember if you were on one of those.
I was not on one of the 455 runs. But I heard stories. I think I was on a run that somebody else ran, where people were showing up with I think they were being strangled by fibers. And realized that they were being strangled to death by their own clothes. So the entire team just immediately removed all their clothing and finished the mission.
Oh no! No, there you go.
Stark nude.
Yeah, that's life. That's how you got to be.
That's life.
That's how it is.
Yeah. That's the only thing I remember.
You just got to take all your clothes off.
Apologies, I bumped my mic.
No,
IRC chat roleplay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was because you have to remember, legit, and it's embarrassing. It is. But especially in the beginning, we were half role-playing the whole fucking time. Regardless of what we were doing, just whatever. We were kind of into it a little bit. And then we kind of stepped back over time, but, the sort of, kind of quasi-implication that this is actually real, sort of thing, was always kind of in the background. And we've definitely stepped away from that over time, but especially that's a lot more funny and easier to do when it's a small group of people.
Mm-hmm.
Once it gets big enough, you're kind of okay, fine. Still get people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be a running gag that time anyone showed up in the IRC wondering whether this was real, we would tell them yes, and then just keep being as sarcastic as possible until they finally twigged. I think the first time somebody didn't twig and we realized, oh my god, we are actually causing this person to dissociate, was when we started slowing down and said no, it's not real, it's fiction, we're making it up. Yeah. And then they're like, but now you're lying to me, I know it's real. And we're like, okay.
Oh no.
And so that kind of prompted a crisis where we all got together and said, okay, we have to stop telling people this is real.
We're gonna fucking kill somebody. We gotta stop, man. I remember that happening. I wasn't there when that happened, but I remember hearing about it. I do remember being on IRC, and I think it was Kondraki. I want to say it was him. It might have been someone else. Someone came in asking if it was normal, whatever. All of a sudden, someone put down a thing that just blanked out the quit. It just spam botted breach in these big glowing Unicode characters, and then booted him.
Oh.
And someone said, well, he's going to have a heart attack. He's going to be hiding under his bed, man.
I think
that was so cool. I'm sorry, I thought it was so cool.
That sounds like something Kondraki would have pulled.
See, that's the thing, is I'm not sure if it was him, but I think it was, or it was really close. It's just
it. I have to admit something. It also sounds like something that I might have pulled.
Yeah, no, it was someone. It was someone. Someone did it. But no, that was.
Yeah.
I remember that.
God.
Oh my god.
Just to get on a serious note, Gears, when sometime later, there was that incident with that girl who got stabbed over Slender Man.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I remember a bunch of us kind of getting together in IRC afterwards and kind of looking at each other across the table and going, "That could have been us. We dodged a bullet there."
Just straight up, that could that was so crazy. And admittedly, as thinking about that person was effed up. Like that whole thing was effed up, and it just happened to be involving I hate to be that asshole, but that probably would have happened one way or another. But still, that was kind of like everybody sitting and going, "Oh, shit." Because you could still find on YouTube, like even relatively recent stuff, people it's like, is the SCP Foundation real? And they had, I remember one of the coolest things, I think it was set up by Reddit. I don't think it was us. Then again, it's hard to tell. Where they had like an actual number on flyers that would post it around somewhere. And you could call it and get like a auto dialer service that would take information about anomalous stuff. And I thought that was so cool.
That was really cool. I remember the guy who did it. It was a phone number and a QR code.
Yeah.
And he had stickers that he put up around all over the place. And I think one of them, I think they said something like, this object is being monitored by...
Or this area, or this object, and all that kind of stuff. Oh my god,
if you notice any anomalous behavior, call this number and file a report.
And you call it, it actually did shit. Like it was a for real number. Oh my god.
And
that's super cool.
That was really cool. Like, that whole ARG thing was really, really cool, but...
again,
I feel like if you're going to run an ARG, if you want to run an ARG, I feel like you need to have a little bit more organization in it.
Yeah, you got to actually know what you're doing instead of just effing with people. It's, world's changed a little bit. Ahead. So
it really has.
It was
it really has.
Really cool way to start in the ARG though.
Yeah, no, that would be like if it was done well, like if there was actually like a structure. That would be, I think, an SCP or ARG. I think it very much lends itself to that kind of, format in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
there's a lot of people out there doing like SCP ARG stuff now. Like you look at Jackrabbit and Necrokitten's stuff. I recently had them on episode 5 of this podcast. Mm-hmm. You look at their like TikToks, and you can really see there's a lot of clues and mystery hidden in there. It's super cool.
Okay, well there you go.
Wow. I had no idea about that.
It's super cool. Highly recommend checking it out.
Oh, I will look.
They're actually making a TV show right now. They're already in the planning stages of a TV show that's going to begin in April about the SCP Foundation.
Oh my god!
Like
SCP
like online or network? Because if it's network TV, then I've got no. Never mind.
So about
that. What?
It's the words TV show have like a certain meaning to people of me and Gears' generation, and just I was thinking like what, NBC?
But, there you go. How many people do you think came into the forums or chat saying they were going to make like a movie or a TV show or something like that?
Oh, God.
How many do you think?
How many people? A lot of people said that. A lot of people said it should be, and a lot of people were like, "We're gonna make something cool.
We're gonna make it. We're gonna do this." And
every time we'd be like, "Yeah, whatever. Come back when you show us something." Yeah. And the first time somebody came back and said, "Oh yeah, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I made a game. The game is called Containment Breach," and we're like, "What the hell?
What the fuck?
You made it?"
We all just had this moment. We're just looking at each other. I never thought we'd get this far. What the hell?
Yeah, because people had come into the forum saying, "Here's my proposal for an SCP game, and it's going to be awesome." And we're like, "Okay, yeah, this is really cool. Go make it." Nothing. We don't hear anything from them.
Yeah, no, they've been doing that for years and years and years, and then
all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I think the first one was the guy who did the staircase. The staircase.
That was the first one. Like I'm sure there was maybe like one or two other things, but that was like the first one that like was a big thing. That was a big deal. And then there was Containment Breach, and it's like, oh my god. What? We just had this.
Wait. It's Peanut. He's right there. And there's a blink button.
Look at him. He's running around. He's doing shit. Look at him. Look at our boy.
And he just broke my back. He just broke my neck. Oh, boy.
Oh, God, that was so fun. Amusingly, that's how I got into watching YouTube. The first time I ever saw Markiplier was when he was playing Containment Breach and getting the shit scared out of him. I remember seeing that. I thought that was the coolest shit.
I remember that.
Here's our boy, and then they started putting more stuff in. I remember I got some of the documentation. I talked about that in the other podcast. I got some of the documentation in there, and I was like talking to people because I thought that was so cool. So I started like talking to the people on the dev forum and such, and they knew what they were doing. It's like I have no idea, but I can kind of like be a consultant. I don't know. And I remember they took a lot of like the shit that I wrote and had put it in there in kind of spots and such. I thought that was just so cool.
Yeah.
It's insanely cool.
I was watching a playthrough of it, and I hadn't realized that they'd put Radical Larry, the old man, in there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the first time that the player got dragged into the pocket dimension and like got chased down, I'm like, what the heck is this?
What the hell is going on?
And then they had the femur breaker, and I'm like, really?
This is detailed. This is going all the way.
You implemented the femur breaker?
You went all the way? Oh my god.
While we're on the subject of Containment Breach, just quickly, Gears, what are you thinking of like your Improver 914 being in there?
Oh god, that would be so cool. I'd be absolutely like I 914 has been interesting seeing in there because like physically I would love to see a giant complex network of clockworks, working away and stuff. It's like, no, fuck that noise. It's fine.
It's a box.
Yeah, it's a box. And it's fine. It does the thing. But it's seeing how, like, especially how people have messed with it and, like, the shit people have done with it and such has always been very, very cool. But it's very cool that I got a couple of my things in there. I was very, very, very tweaked about that.
I can imagine.
Well, then there's the offshoots. There's the SCP Containment Breach Unity, which is the new hotness, which is in limbo apparently at the moment. But it's
I think
really,
there's
really
some development hell.
Yeah, there's some development hell, but it's really, really pretty. It's really, really pretty.
I think there's a multiplayer version, Secret
Lab.
Base or
Secret
something.
Lab.
Yeah, Secret Lab.
Oh my god, that is very, very cool. And I think that would be very, very cool. But at the same time, it does invite a certain degree of ridiculousness, which is not really dissimilar from the site, but still.
I mean, while we're talking about the games, and then there's a stuff that's like not really SCP Foundation, but kind of could be.
Yeah.
Lobotomy Corporation. That game wasted a lot of my time.
Yum.
And then,
got like that. Wow, I started Control.
Oh, Jesus, man. Control. Because we were having.
They've got an entire DLC called The Foundation. Yeah.
Everyone was like, "Listen, okay, listen here. Now we see
you are in the FBC, Federal Bureau of Control.
We were just a communal point. It's like we see what you're doing. It's fine, but I want you to understand we see you. We see what you're doing.
We see you there, guys.
We are watching.
We know what you're doing. It's fine, but we know.
We know. Just sort of a yeah.
I would have killed. I would have loved to have seen in Control just like one little piece. Just maybe one piece of paper randomly with like a Foundation logo on it or something. Just
something
for the
like that.
Just something like that. But no, that was Control straight up. As far as like AAA games, that's the Foundation. Like it's built a little bit different. They function a little bit different, but like especially like aesthetic and overall function. Yeah, that's a site. Yeah, ultimately.
That's a fantastic. The third one I was thinking about was Soma, which honestly didn't have all that much to do with the Foundation aside from the marketing of the early videos.
Yeah.
But then when you get into the underwater zones, I'm like, okay, this is an exotic site.
Yeah, no, this is one of those places. This is one of those places where the bad thing happens, and we put a big box around it.
Looping back to 455, that's like, I don't know, that the whole underwater thing just gives me like Zeta Niner vibes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was Soma definitely caught a lot of that. There was a lot of that kind of, and it's cool, like realizing that might not be too far from the truth. The fact that like shit that we made, little refugee Fortran trolls putting together, creepypasta on a little forum have inspired like people to do things and like make stuff. And that's just like, that's so cool to me.
Insane.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Super, super cool.
Oh man.
Honestly, I feel like if the Creative Commons license wasn't how this was all done, Control could have very well been an SCP game. Not saying the Creative Commons license is bad. But it's interesting.
God. The Creative Commons license has
that's a whole conversation.
That's a whole thing.
Yeah. It was one of those things. Just one of those. Whether it's good or bad, it's here. It is kind of ultimately. Yeah. It's she be what she be.
Hey, remember? God, I don't want to turn this into a full reminiscence.
No, come on.
Remember when that TV show Warehouse 13 came out?
Oh my fucking god! Yes, I remember that.
User who will not be named was like screaming about how he was getting ready to sue them.
Oh my god! Yeah,
every freaking
day. Every freaking day, we're like, dude, calm down. It's fine. It's not a unique concept. Stuff like the Foundation and like sort of this monolithic entity, it's existed before. But Warehouse 13, oh my god, I remember that. Because they had I remember one of the things like everybody was offended by was the anti-anomaly goo that they dunked stuff in. And like everybody was viscerally offended at that. It's like, how dare you? How dare you, sir?
Yeah, dude. It would be great if there was like an anti-anomaly goo that would just take care of everything just by dumping into it.
Yeah, you guys put glowing detergent on all of our problems and fix it, but we can't. Just like this outrage.
We gotta come up with like actual solutions and containment situations. We gotta get like 15 blind guards surrounding this thing.
We gotta get shit we gotta do here, man. And then, like we were like offended. It was. And that's one of the amusing things is like, I mean, what was it? Telekill Alloy. You remember when that got wrote? And then like a few months later, they were using it on everything. Like that became the silver bullet for everything. And we're like, all right, we got to rein this in.
I remember that.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
The Telekill Alloy was just like, just throw it at everything.
Man.
Throw it at everything. Oh my god.
And I remember, I think the person who originally created Telekill got really mad because it was like, this is only supposed to stop psychic
it's like, it's not
stuff.
It's not, sacred silver or holy water or anything. You're just throwing it at everything. Like, no, it works on everything. Oh my god. That was so stupid.
God. I was guilty of that.
No, everybody did. That's the thing. I think I used it at something, or at least talked about it before. But it's like everybody used it.
That one and the Panacea got
Panacea
to fix everything.
Yeah. That was okay because it was limited and it couldn't be reproduced. So the first thing people did was try to reproduce it. It's like, would you stop? Would you stop it? That was the first thing people tried to do was try to reproduce it. Oh my god!
I remember cross-testing was a bigger thing back then.
Oh my god!
That became a whole.
That became a whole thing, and that was the thing. Like before, it was. I remember discouraging it. Like I thought it was cool. No, it was cross-linking. Cross-linking. I said this is gonna this is going to be a bad idea. And it turned out to be a bad idea, but regardless. But cross-testing was a thing. And we're like, yo, we should try that. And then we did it for a while. It's like, yo, this is stupid.
I remember that.
That got out of hand fast. Like, really, really
that
fast.
And decommissions.
Oh, my God, the decommissioning.
Yeah, that and decommissioning.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Do you guys think you could actually tell us the stories of both of those?
What?
Okay.
I know there's some lore there.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
Start with tell us about what happened with cross-testing.
Oh, God. Okay.
Oh, God.
Let's check this out. Let's honest. I like talking about
absolutely,
events that happened in the older days of the wiki. It's fun to hear about.
I think it can be summed up as like Guy would write like, here is a spear that like creates, I don't know, lightning. Let's just make something up off the bat. And then Guy number 2 would pop up, and because back then you didn't really have author control of the site, anyone could edit it, they'd put in a thing where it's like, and we gave the spear to SCP-076, and he used it to like wreck 15 battalions of enemy soldiers, and then he threw it back into the box because it made killing too easy.
No,
and then like Guy number 3 would pop up and say, and we're like gonna put this into our like duplicator box and assign this to all of our troops.
No, that was it. He's not wrong. He's not even exaggerating. That is 100% what happened.
And then like somebody else would like say, what would happen if we put... Sorry, go on.
No, that was it. That was it. That was what we did. We just tried shit. It was like, how do we make things cooler? How do we make them more like dangerous or scary or whatever? And it was cool. It was just an idea. It was like, oh man, let's do this stuff. And we started doing it, and it was like, after like less than a year, it was a few months, we just kind of sat down and looked and said, man, we got to stop doing this. we're getting stupid. Oh my God.
The most common things that would happen is people who would try to kill 682 with it.
Yep. That was usually things would get published. It would get a couple of comments, and then they'd use it to try and kill 682. And that was how you knew you arrived.
The other thing is that they would try to like get it to like defeat Abel and go join Omega 7, become a member of the X-Men.
Yeah, if it was a humanoid. If it was a humanoid.
Yeah, and the third thing is they would fling it into 914 or something like that and try to like make it better.
Try and do something. Try and do something with it. Yeah, that was a big one. That was always weird. It's like,
yeah.
Oh my God, I remember going.
I think
There you go ahead.
Yeah, go on. No, you go ahead. Go
ahead. All right. I remember it was always weird coming into articles, like stuff you'd written a little while ago, and scrolling down, it's like, what the fuck is this addendum? What the hell? I didn't write. Oh, someone else. Okay, someone else did this, and he'd read it, and be like, okay, that's interesting. He'd be like, what? Who? What? That happened a lot.
Why? Yeah. God. I think that's a large part of the reason why we started putting the experiment logs on separate pages.
Yeah, because
so
it got
that it would be like
really fast.
Yeah. Don't fuck with the main article, man.
Yeah.
Just put this over here.
Just put that over there. Because one of the things was, and I kind of got what was going on, especially if you were an up-and-comer doing new articles, the quickest way to get exposure would be to hook your shit to a more well-known article. So that's why things like 914 and 682 and such were picked so often, because they were very well-known. So if you could kind of hitch your wagon to them, you'd have a better chance at exposure and such. And some of it was just like, let's make it cooler. Let's do something. And
which kind of led to the second problem, which was decommissions. Which was people would roll in with like their superhero OC.
Yeah, their OC, like straight up.
The coolest guy ever, and he's like really cool, and like he's got like superpowers, and he can like control people with mind. And the SCP Foundation, like, you know,
they recruited him. They
put him in a room. They call him in when they need him to do like cool stuff because he's a cool guy. And I remember one that pissed me the fuck off so much that it got downvoted so hard that it was going to be deleted. And I wrote what amounts to a hate fic, where I basically just had Clef come in and just him and Clef and Kondraki teamed up to like blow this guy out in an airlock and like scatter him across the surface of the moon. And this was hilarious. It was great. Everybody thought it was the coolest thing.
I remember.
Yeah. For months after that, that was the main kind of tale people wrote.
No,
is somebody would roll in with a shitty article. Yeah.
I wrote it. If there was a shitty article that was going to get tanked, I'd be like, yo, I want him. Give him to me. We go in and decommission him. Oh my god!
And it would be like it would just be like it would just be a case of like guy with their it was ROCs, so it was okay because ROCs were cool. Just like
cool,
beating up on, destroying everything,
just bullying the shit out of people. It was awesome.
And I remember the moment that we realized this had to stop was one of the best stories that Kondraki ever wrote, which was Duke Till Dawn, where he rode through the site chasing the vampire, rodeoing 682.
We wrote it. We sat down. We said, okay, this is the top. This is as high. This is as high as we go. We cannot go. We have to come back
any further.
This is it. We come back from here. That was the high water mark.
We are done. There will be no more.
There's still fan art being made of that. There's still fan art.
I've heard about that.
Oh my god!
Like a famous tale.
Oh my god! No, that was absolutely a thing. Everybody, I remember. I can't remember the name. I can't remember the number. But I remember it was like a blue fox person with like a fox tail, and they could like innately sense a pedophile and instantly kill them. And like that was part of the article. I remember that distinctly. I'm like, this is the worst thing. This is so fucking stupid.
Oh my gosh. We had some really bad human articles back then.
Oh god, we had
one guy named Harbinger.
Oh no!
Who was like a cool Call of Duty guy, but god. He like had like vampire powers.
Yeah,
or something.
Yeah, it was some kind of vampiric thing. Yeah. Remember, it got so bad. I remember there was a period where everybody was doing humanoid SCPs. Like everybody was doing that, and it got so bad. We're like, no more. We got to. And then the decommissioning started grinding up because we had so many bad ones. And then, and then Kondraki wrote 682. It's like, okay, we gotta take a big old
Duke Till Dawn.
We gotta take a little big step back. It's like, all right. This is the War of the Doctors got a little excitable, but this is something. This is a thing that happened.
Wow.
We're not taking it back.
I think,
man.
The thing with the War of the Doctors that was sheer forum roleplay.
No, that was all it was.
It was sheer forum roleplay, but we were all like having fun with each other.
Yeah, that was
thing
everybody.
With the decommissions.
Because we kind of got into this mode of like things going crazy, and we're all just kind of rolling off each other, just playing like round robin with a story, just throwing shit out. That was fun.
But I think one of the things that made us decide we had to stop the decommissions was what you said. It was just bullying.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah.
It was
People would roll in.
It was fun in a way. I mean, there's something to be said.
It was fun for us.
It's not for us. We're fun. But no, it did kind of create a bad perception. And especially in those times, especially in the more early parts of the wiki, things were pretty rough and ready, and that was kind of a nature of the time, but kind of looking back, yeah, it was a bit mean-spirited. We could have, and we did eventually kind of step back and take a more reasonable approach, but some of this stuff was just bad. And man, no. It had to go. And we're like, well, if we're going to rip it out anyway, may as well do something stupid.
We ended up taking a different approach in the end, which was rather than just, bullying people for writing crap, what if we, help them write better stuff in the first place?
Yeah, that was a slow process, but we did manage it, more or less.
I understand that the Concrete team still have, guts of steel and the patience of angels.
They really do. Oh my god, no, that was no, we definitely, and one of the things you got to remember is especially in the early 2000s, the internet was a different place, and that kind of behavior was as bad as it was for us. We were actually pretty decent about it. All things considered.
All things considered.
Except,
Yeah.
No, that's the story. It's the story, we're sticking to it.
We were... I mean, we were refugees from 4chan.
We were.
What do you say about
I mean, that's what it was. I think we were considering our roots and where we came from. It's, we are... we have graduated to washed barbarians, but we're still kind of, we're still kind of crushing people with rocks. But, we're being careful about it.
As DJ Cactus said in his interview for Create Stuff, it's gone from a den of bastards to more of a cool nightclub of bastards.
No, absolutely. That was, very, very, very executive, monsters. It was great.
I mean, we're all still bastards, but, we at least vacuum once in a while and yell at people who try to, leave an upper decker in the toilet.
Yeah, it's right there. See, we have new users coming. Someone light a fucking candle. Just kind of go along.
Hey, dudes, I've got, some girls coming in. Can we, put on some pants?
Put on some pants. I want to groove. It was a different world. It really was. And, that was...
Yeah,
I've heard...
Oh my god!
I've heard so much about this from other sources and stuff, but there's just something really different about hearing the people who were directly involved.
We were there, man.
Oh my
we were
god!
There in the trenches. We were there in the trenches.
I think you. I'm going to get a little sappy for a minute. You and Mrs. Gears were actually a part of turning me into a better person, because I forget what it was, and I think I was talking to you about it before, but you called me out. You've even forgotten about it. But I said something that was a 4chan joke, and you and Mrs. Gears basically just called me out on it and basically said, dude, you cannot say this sort of thing in polite company. And I was like, oh, crap. People on the internet have feelings and lives of their own. They are not merely punching bags to make me feel better.
Which is an education for anybody. Well, that's really sweet.
Oh, yeah. It was.
That's sweet.
Well, I'll you know what? While we're trading back and forth, Clef, I don't know if I ever brought this up, but I'm pretty sure you were a big chunk of the reason I kept writing, by the by, and why I'm doing other stuff. Because I remember working with you on different stuff, like War of the Doctors, and that thing where we were going back and forth with I don't know if we ever finished it. It had Agent Harkin and shit. And anyway,
yeah. I don't think it ever got finished.
I don't think it ever got finished. That was a lot of fun, though. But I remember going back and forth with that, and you were a very different writer than me, which was good, and it kind of gave me kind of a different viewpoint. But I remember at one point I was trying to write something, and I just said, "Hey, Clef, can I bend your ear for a minute?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." I said, "How the fuck do you do dialogue? I cannot get the shit to flow. I can't make it look right." He's like, "Oh, here's what I do." And I remember you being kind of you weren't offhand about it. It was just "Oh, you just can't do this." I'm like, "Okay." And that's been my strategy ever since. That's kind of how I've done shit.
I mean, coming from the guy who I still think is one of the better writers on the site, that means something.
God,
and
sad.
I don't know if we've got time to do that right now, but I don't know.
We have plenty of time.
We got time
honestly,
to talk about.
With this, I have no like set time that this has to end. It honestly can just go until we feel like we want to be done or we're about to collapse. But I say at this point, it's like time span tends to go from about an hour to 2 hours. So
okay. I mean, we got 8:35 right in front of us, and we're talking about,
we got 8:35
collaborating.
It's like, should we read it? It's so gnarly. Like it's good, but it's like
real fast.
Oh my god.
I think we get to like the description, and then we end there.
I think we're just going to end at the description. Okay. I remember, but as a brief preface, what was it? Did I approached you, didn't I? I was like, hey, we both had kind of me and Clef had both kind of gotten a name for doing like scary shit, like serious scary shit. And it was like I'm pretty sure I approached Clef. I don't remember exactly. I'm like, hey, we should do something.
It was very like mid 2010s YouTube. Like, hey, we should collab.
No, straight up, that was it.
And we're like, yeah, we should collab.
That. I think I said that. It's like, we should do a collab.
Cool. We should team up. And I was like, yeah. And stop me if I'm remembering this wrong, but I remember this conversation very distinctly. Was that we were like brainstorming ideas back and forth, you said, hey, look, what if we do this? What if you give me like 3 phrases or prompts, and then I will see what I can do with them.
Yeah, no, that was...
And of course, the first thing I think of... Yeah, I think the first thing I thought of was body horror, because you were very good at that. I think the second thing that I said was, like, the deep ocean, because this was back when like people were like really getting into like the whole abyssal. Oh God, what is down there?
Yeah, abyssal shit. Yeah. That was definitely in the consciousness.
And I'm gonna step gently around this because I don't want to draw the attention of certain people. But this was around the time that a certain newspaper sex advice column writer came up with a certain word off of the name of a certain politician, and defined it in a certain way that was, it was objectively disgusting.
It was objectively disgusting.
It was.
Oh my God.
And that was the whole idea, is that, like, originally it was like, well, people were like bringing up like sex acts for this person's name, and one person came back and said, no, the thing is, I don't want to kink shame, and people do objectively enjoy this, so what if we just use the word for something that nobody likes but is kind of like an unwanted side effect? And they brought that up. And so I remember throwing that at you, and Gears, I remember, replies to this with, I need some time. And then logged off IRC.
I'm just like, give me a minute. I said, give me a minute to think about it. Give me like a day to think about this. I just logged off. I'm just like,
I need some time.
What the fuck do I do with all this shit?
And then he comes back to me and he says, okay, first, underwater, it's going to be a coral mass. I'm like, okay, that's pretty good. And he says, second, this coral mass reproduces by expelling its bodily fluids and infecting things. I'm like, okay, that's really good. And then he gets to the third part, which is, okay, this thing is a human being. More specifically, it is several human beings.
All kind of amalgamated.
All combined together. All amalgamated. And they are still alive.
Like, they're still functional and, like, conscious of what's going on. And
they know what is happening to them. And I basically said, okay.
I kind of got it. I vaguely remember you going to something, to a very polite, what the fuck, man? Just, you had this moment, like, oh shit, I scared him off. He's like, no, this is fine. And then we sat down and...
No, it's like, okay. Yeah.
We're gonna do...
And I remember we were writing this article, and we were doing, like, the usual thing, writing it out, and then we would get to points where we're like, okay, this is too gross. We gotta, like, redact this.
Yeah.
This is too weird. We gotta redact this. This is you getting a little bit too close to the edge. You gotta redact this.
We gotta redact this. And then by the time we got done, it's like we have another article of redacted stuff. Oh, that's an idea.
And so that's why we put in the whole, like, unredacted things as links to the story.
Yeah.
And I remember I think the way it worked out is that is that we, like, wrote out the unredacted version first, and then I just started going through it, trying to look for the parts that we could redact that would mislead the reader into thinking something else was going on.
That it was relatively innocuous, and then it's like, no, this is not. It's not just what you're thinking. It's worse.
It is absolutely worse. And I remember the big like part that made people going like, Jesus Christ, was the fact that the narrator had in fact gotten infected, and the whole ship had to be scuttled over the site because everyone on board was duped.
It got everything.
It was
everything. I remember, if I remember right, I wrote most of the actual, like, contained procedures and description. And then a lot of the log was yours, if I remember right.
Yeah.
We were going back and forth and such. But I remember I hadn't really read the whole unredacted part, like, start to finish, until it was actually published. I'm like, I'm going to check it out. I read it and said, I just had this moment of, what the fuck? I had that moment of, are we the baddies?
Yeah.
Are we the bad people here?
I think later on I ended up editing it because people were accusing me of writing stuff that I had never actually written into there because my phrasing was bad. Yeah.
That was...
But the main thing that I remember about this was there was a part of it that I knew I wanted to have in there, which was the whole, the two Zeta Niner, excuse me, people being stuck in the thing's esophagus for hours, being like pushed towards the stomach, trapped face to face inside their suits, unable to move or get anywhere.
Just freaking out at each other. Isolated, but
face to face,
touching. Yeah, no, that's one of them moments.
And I remember two things about it. Number one is that there was a science fiction book I'd read back in the day where a guy is in a spacesuit and sees like something going on that just caused him to have a panic attack, and his partner is like looking at him, and his partner is terrified because it looks like this guy is so nauseated he might throw up in his suit, and if he does that in his spacesuit, he's gonna die in the worst possible way. Yeah. But the other thing is, and this is just me personally, I had an experience back in the day where, as a kid, where my parents took me to like go on a vacation, and we went to go look in a cave, and there were just going through the regular cave started to like really kind of freak me out, and then I started seeing pictures of what like hardcore spelunkers would do there.
Oh god!
The whole like crawling through like a
just like that's wedging themselves through like a head-sized opening and shit. It's just like nah.
Yeah. And like crawling head first down one of these tubes, and I was like, I will never do this. I will never go spelunking. I will never, ever do this.
Oh my god.
And then I found out about cave divers. And
if you hated spelunking, you're going to hate cave diving.
All respect to people who do cave diving. You guys are much more hardcore than I will ever be, but your hobby is the stuff of my nightmares.
There it is. One person's recreational evening is another person's screaming descent into madness.
Yeah, it's like, God, this, I remember, just recently I was watching this documentary about a guy who had set the record for a deepest cave dive, and then when he was down there, he found the body of a kid who had drowned there like 10 years before.
I think I saw that. Or something like that.
And, this guy, experienced cave diver, one of the best
legendary
people.
Huge guy, yeah.
Legendary. Mm. Set records. And he says to his friends and to this poor kid's family, I'm going to go back down there and I'm going to retrieve your son. Mm. And something goes wrong down there. And he just dies.
Yeah, he just died. He just died.
And
it's like
just
Everest.
Died underwater.
Like you can't, like there's certain spots where if you die, especially like cave diving, if you die there, that's where you are. Bummer.
Yeah, but the thing that the two things about that story that struck me was that first was just the depiction of he'd died down there because he'd literally poisoned himself on his own oxygen because he'd hyperventilated, and that had caused because of the pressure.
Just a little thing like that.
Yeah, and the other thing was that when they started pulling up the safety line, because this was not like a fly-by-night seat-of-your-pants operation. No, they put in a lot of planning into it. They had every single contingency planned for. He had a safety guy just above him who nearly died himself. This was not like
they did everything.
They knew it was dangerous, but they did everything they could have done. But when they pulled up the line, they brought up this guy's body. I looked it up. His name was Dave Shaw.
Yeah.
And it was 2005. And they brought up the body of the diver, and then they realized he was attached to a line. And then when they pulled up the line, they realized that one of the last things he had done was hook himself to the body of the kid that had died down there, Dion Dreyer, and he'd recovered the kid's body too, even though he had died in the process.
Just a freaking moment with that.
Oh my god!
Let's grab the pathos from that. Good god!
Yeah,
absolutely.
And stories like that just come up when it comes to the sport of cave diving and stuff all the time. And that sort of nightmare scenario, I mean, you talk about how Zeta Niner kind of ends up being like the red shirts of all these stories. But
sadly, it's true. But they're like really real skilled. But by the same time, this guy was real well skilled. Legendary. Yeah. And sometimes you just get into shit. It's like, well, fuck. This is sometimes shit that happens.
It doesn't matter how much you prepare. It doesn't matter how much you are ready. There are some things that people do in life which are just dangerous.
Yeah, and it's gonna
and
and sometimes the wheel comes up on your name and that's the show. And I guess that's kind of what I try to do with Zeta 9 to a certain extent. It's they do tend to end up being red shirts and stuff. But by the same token, they're very well trained. They're very well skilled and equipped and all this stuff. And the fact that they're still getting taken out, I was hoping to kind of have that be sort of a counterpoint to people. Most people were like, oh, they got killed again. Oh, yeah.
No. It's just a shame that all of the stories about Zeta Niner that we get on the story are stories where things don't go well.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that there are plenty of stories where they crazy, I don't know, whale spine room filled with, killer leeches. It's a good thing that I'm wearing my, they're inch-thick suit of armor.
Yeah, and they're totally fine. They're badasses. It's off screen. They're, badasses and people talk about this. But when they're actually just getting fucking killed. It happens.
Yeah. It's the Worf effect.
It is.
We only get to see them when things go bad for you, then.
There it is. Oh, Lord.
Yeah. They're Lieutenant Worf.
There it is. Technical badass.
Yeah.
That is a super cool origin for this article, though. Yeah. That's really neat.
Yeah, it was just us kind of going, let's do something bad. We did.
Let's freak out the reader. I think that was legit part of what we were trying to do.
Yeah, no,
we were legit just egging each other on.
Let's just let's get them. Let's make them scared. Let's make them nauseous. Let's do it. Let's do the thing. And we did.
I kind of love that. I gotta love separately. It's they're okay. When they come together, there's an adult content warning on the article.
We can.
I don't know if I've got the most adult content warnings on the site, but I know I've got a few.
You got a few. You got more than me. You got a lot more than me.
Yeah.
This has a sexual tag? Why is there a sexual tag?
I think it's because of one of the body fluids involved in the whole, spewing things out thing.
Clef,
why are there so many sexuals?
Clef, that's
SCPs?
A goddamn lie. And it's fine, but that's a lie. Anyway. So should we read this thing?
It might have something to do with the reason why I rewrote the log, because
just sit there and lie to the people.
The original version of the log might have involved something involving naughty tentacles that I didn't exactly intend, so I may have had to come back.
Just saying, it's there.
Your SCP was tentacle hentai?
No, not. Well, yes, but you don't understand. No, in context, it makes sense. It's not gratuitous. It's tasteful tentacles. You don't understand.
Look, I'm not even going to go there. It was the only thing that I ever implied was that the Zeta Niner agent's suit was breached,
things happened,
and that's what caused them to become infected.
It was a problem.
However, the fact that the Zeta Niner agent happened to be female, and the fact that tentacles were involved led to...
We understand. You can stop.
In service to the people plot. It's in service to the
assuming
plot.
Things.
Assuming things.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Plot.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know if I mentioned
this. We're getting back to this.
Hang on. I need one more side because I remembered it again. And I have to bring this up. It has nothing to do with this. Clef, there was a conversation at one point, and I don't know if you remember it or not, but I still giggle about it occasionally. It was one of the first times we had started discussing trying to get together at a convention, and we were discussing various interesting things. And one of them was the idea of having a person in a fursuit kind of frolicking around. And then all of a sudden, two foundations take him the fuck out. And leave documents around or something like that to sort of drag him off. And we thought that would be the funniest shit in the world. And I remember it was me, Bright, and you. And we were discussing this. And you brought up, okay, who's going to be in the fursuit? And I said, well, we're two guys over 6 feet who live in Michigan, and you're a small Asian man. You're like, well, damn it.
I I remember that.
You remember that. I'm sorry.
And this is doubly funny because years later, I ran into Foggy Golem, who was one of the first big SCP Foundation cosplayers.
Okay.
And his gag was that he would walk up to like various people dressed in cosplay, and he would like
oh my God, I've seen
take
that.
photographs with them, like cuffing them and like dragging them away.
Yes. At least it happened. That's all I wanted.
It happened.
Brilliant.
Okay, we can go on now. It's fine.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna deny that I'm a lot less degenerate these days than I was back then, but I am still what they would call a degenerate weeb.
There is.
Yeah.
As well as it's less. It's still a deep hole, but it's not as deep. You know, still a hole.
Poor choice of words, but yeah.
Oh wait, hang on. Shut up. Hang on.
We're not gonna go any deeper into that hole if we don't have to.
Speaking of which, 835.
Yes, 835.
An excellent
I think at this point we don't need to read it. I think we all know what it is. I think you described it pretty well.
I think we've talked about it enough. Yeah, go read it.
Go read it. Link in the description. Give it to him. Go read it if you dare. If you dare. The picture is less horrifying than the one I found, and that's fine. The one I found was like the most disgusting picture of barnacles I have ever seen before.
Fleshy.
It was juicy. It was bad. I'm almost glad they changed it. Oh my God.
I mean, scopophobics.
Yeah.
Be warned.
But beware.
Oh man.
God, I remember that. Remember back in the day, you just found a picture. Either you had an idea or you had a picture, and one gave the other, and then you threw it up on the wiki, and that was pretty much the long and short of it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then we started running into legal trouble. People who were like, "Hey,
that's my shit.
Thing I made." And my cute little thing I made that I think is really adorable is being
an eldritch.
Why are people talking about how scary this is?
What the hell?
Why are people throwing around numbers?
Like what's going on?
Related to this?
Just bewildered.
Yeah.
Clef, did you know I actually did a new entry not too long ago? A new main list.
Oh, I did not. I did not know that.
4940, the Transformer.
2 years ago.
4940, Transformer. Oh, you said. I have one article in the 4000 series, and it doesn't help me with my whole "I'm not a degenerate weeb anymore."
Oh no!
Oh.
That's great though. That's
beautiful.
No.
Okay, real quick, I do have to. Are you talking about 4444J?
4444J? No. I'm talking about.
Wait, which one's in the 4000s?
4960.
4960.
The one with a really long name. That
I don't see it on your SCP list, on your personnel file. Personnel file, rather.
It's not. I haven't updated my personnel file in like 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
4960 is the how the Foundation founded a hentai to awaken a Sumerian love goddess, or how I learned to stop worrying and love Kadesh and Anaya.
God! Adult content. Clef! What the hell, man?
Yeah.
What the hell, man? Meanwhile, I get you. I get your reference. I see you. You can't tell. I'm pointing at you. I see you. You're doing that trend that they're doing with the manga and anime where they have like a 5-mile long title. I see you.
Yes, exactly.
That's awesome, but still.
Oh my God. Light novel type name.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Okay.
We're pushing 2 hours.
We have
now.
left her.
We are. Oh, yeah, this recording is over 2 hours. I think this is probably a good time to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Real quickly, though, I do have just one question I need to ask you, Dr. Clef. This is something I'm curious about. When was the last time you posted an article?
God, it's been years. The simple truth is, I feel like every person has a number of SCP ideas in them that are actually good, and I feel like I ran out at some point.
I mean, if you get an idea, then you get an idea. But like, you have like a life and a wife and friends and shit. You know, which is probably why I'm still publishing.
I will say the other thing that happened is that the number of writers on the site just exploded so much.
Oh my god!
So that I would come in and think to myself, this is actually a good idea, and then I'd look into the website and I'd be like, somebody else has already done this.
There's already like 2 or 3 versions of it. It's like, well, fuck.
And they've already done a much better job of it with a new and more interesting take on it than I did.
Yeah, and it's like that's a good problem to have ultimately, but it does kind of, clip into the old ability.
Yeah.
Anyway,
all right. Well,
I will say this much. Thanks for having me on. It was great, just reminiscing,
hanging out a bit and talking.
And
it was super great to have both of you.
Yeah, getting called out by one of the other old masters of the website.
Masters of the website.
It was great when I just straight up like messaged Clef. I'm like, hey, you want to do a podcast? Like, I'm trying to sell him drugs. It's like, yeah, sure, I guess. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you both so much for coming on. This was really fun. It's honestly like, I've heard tales and stories of all these things that happened in the past, but it's just so different hearing it come straight from the mouth of people who were there. First-hand accounts of the events.
Battlefield reports,
tragic tales. I would, if you guys would be up for it, I would totally be happy to have you guys on again. Perhaps with some of the older authors on the wiki to talk more about this stuff, because it's so interesting to hear about the old site culture and how much it's changed. It's crazy.
No,
and I wouldn't mind that. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Gears.
No, you're fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all so much for listening in, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye, everybody.
Cheers.
Yeah.